Coming up next, we're back at it again with the third edition of one of this channel's new favorite shows. And for this one, we're counting down 6 more entries of songs that have become punchlines in our culture, in pop culture. And we're telling some stories, I swear, it'll make you do a double take, including how everyone thinks that the song we're going to talk about that's the number 1 hit is a romantic ballad. The girls love it, but it's actually about a drug-fueled subway stalker who can't stop staring at his ex-girlfriend. The song got so overexposed and was so annoying, even the singer started mocking it along with everyone else. And then there's the girl group with a vocalist whose voice was not up to snuff. So producers actually switched off her mic in concert all the time so no one would hear her. Was she just lip-syncing the whole time, her whole career? Finally, there's the legend who had a massive problem. Women wouldn't stop throwing their underwear at him, while he was on stage. Started with women passing him napkins to, wipe the sweat from his brow. But then one night, one woman decided to pass him something a little more intimate and launched one of the funniest running gags in concert history. Let's get into it. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. If you've ever stretched your Stretch Armstrong too much that it actually tore, you're going to dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below and make sure to like, comment, and share this so that we can keep the channel going. It's been a tough couple of weeks, but I'm keeping it going here. I've gotten tons of claims, and it just seems like every day there's a new challenge, but I love what I do, and we're going to keep doing it. And today we got a great show for you. I do want to remind you to get your tickets to Professor of Rock Live, John Fogerty. It's like inside the Actors Studio meets MTV Unplugged. It's going to be an intimate evening with one of the greatest legends of rock and roll, and would love to have you come see me. Tickets are below. You can get your tickets below or right up here. Come say hi. Would love to see you there. All right, it's time to count down more songs that have become punchlines in our culture. We've actually done 2 of these already, but you know what? This one might be the best of the shows that we've done. There's a couple of stories in here that are hard to believe. Not just because some of these songs have become gags in our culture, it doesn't mean they're not still classics. It just brings another element to them, especially our pick for number 6, one of the greats of all time. It's Germany's most iconic rock band, Scorpions, featuring their signature Balls of the Wall anthem, Rock You Like a Hurricane. I love this song, but it's a track that's basically become shorthand for cheesy 80s intensity, especially in its use in pop culture lately. Its relentless usage and over-the-top cinematic entrances has turned the legendary riff into a comedic force and brings in, like I said, another element to the song. The Scorpions released 6 albums in the 70s, but really they turned on the afterburners in the 80s. The band scored successive platinum albums with Animal Magnetism in 1980 and Blackout in 1982. So coming into their 9th album, 1984's Love at First Sting, Scorpions had America in their sights and they were ready to go big or go home. At this point, the band's lineup consisted of lead singer Klaus Meine, guitarist Rudolf Schenker and Matthias Dobbs, bassist Francis Buchholz, and drummer Herman Rarebell. Love at First Sting, that hit number 6 on the Billboard 200, and it went triple platinum, and it gave us a trifecta of Big City Nights, Still Loving You, and Rock You Like a Hurricane. The creation of Rock You Like a Hurricane, that was an arduous 2-year process that saw the lyrics rewritten about 9 different times. Born from a collaboration between Schenker's power-packed opening riff, Rarebell's dirty-minded lyrics, and Mine's more melodic sensibilities, the song was originally titled Blank You Like a Hurricane. Yeah, the F word. How about that? But beyond its sexual metaphors and stormfront imagery, Hurricane was designed as the band's ultimate mission statement. It was a celebration of the band's no-holds-barred attitude and their desire to conquer America. Said Rarebell, the original title for me was Blank You Like a Hurricane, and the record company looked at me and said, are you completely out of your mind? Of course I was. Obviously, the title had to go, so they did swap out the FU for the RO, Rock You Like a Hurricane. That's how that was born. After the rewrite, the song hit number 25 on the U.S. Hot 100 and number 5 on the U.S. mainstream rock charts. But in the 90s and 2000s, Rock You Like a Hurricane would begin its descent into comic relief. Its inclusion in the 2000 film Little Nicky, that was a major pivot for the song, or could have been if Little Nicky hadn't been a box office bomb. Now, regardless, the way it was used in the movie as a lovable loser's kick-ass anthem, that foreshadowed things to come. I mean, between 2000 and 2010, Rock You Like a Hurricane scored many more media placements, including The OC, Grand Theft Auto, Knocked Up, Guitar Hero 3, and Night and Day. By 2011, Rudolph Schenker and his bandmates were catching on. Said Rudolph, "We noticed this suddenly every time somebody needed a big moment that was also a little bit funny, they called upon us." Then in 2014, that unmistakable hurricane riff backed a humorous commercial for Fiber One cookies, and all bets were off. The song that was written to conquer America was now laying siege to the snack aisle. Throughout the 2010s, Rock You Like a Hurricane continued its assault on comedic media, featuring Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Big Bang Theory, and Angry Birds. But just when you thought all the mojo had been siphoned from the song, Stranger Things turned the trend upside down, using it as a badass introduction to the character of Billy Hargrove. It was pretty badass how they used it there. But let me give Rudolph the last word on Rock You Like a Hurricane. He simply said, and I quote, "The song was always about that over-the-top energy. We didn't want to just play a show. We wanted to be the storm that leveled the city. And boy, did they ever." All right, our next punchline comes in at number 5. It's a doozy. I got James Blunt and his chart-topping hit, You're Beautiful.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Now, for me, this song has always been one of those annoying earworms you can't get out of your head. The story of the song, it might ruin somebody's wedding playlist, or a few of you. That's because You're Beautiful, it's not actually a love song. A lot of women loved it. But according to Blunt, it's a stalker track. It's based on a real-life incident from his own life, though maybe a bit exaggerated. Said James about it, "You're Beautiful has always been portrayed as romantic, but actually it's really creepy. It's about a guy who's high and fixating on someone else's girlfriend on the subway." In the original album version, actually, James Blunt sings that he's effing high, but that lyric got softened to flying high, for radio. Jeez, what's with all the F-bombs on these songs? That wasn't the only thing, though, that was softened for public consumption. James Blunt's entire image was boiled down to this one track, which was marketed by his label to appear romantic. So James Blunt recorded You're Beautiful for his 2004 debut album, Back to Bedlam, an album with one of the more interesting origin stories in recent pop history. While writing and recording, a lot of people don't know, but James was living with none other than Carrie Fisher. Yeah, Princess Leia. Yeah, true story. He'd met her through his then girlfriend's parents and ended up crashing at her place in LA, and it was a madhouse. At one point, Carrie Fisher placed a cardboard cutout of herself as Princess Leia outside his bedroom door, and her birth date was written on it along with her predicted death date, which actually turned out to be pretty close to when she actually died, December 27, 2016. Blunt called Fisher his American mother and a real inspiration. His album Back to Bedlam was named for his time living with her. Now, the album was released in October 2004, and You're Beautiful dropped half a year later in May of 2005. So that was actually the third UK single from the record, James Blunt's first 2 singles, High and Wise Man. They'd already made headway on radio in the UK. But when You're Beautiful, when that was released with its false start beginning, it was off to the races. By July of 2005, it had climbed to number 1 in the UK, and it duplicated that feat in America the following November. The music video, that also went viral. In it, James strips off multiple layers of clothes until he's bare-chested and barefoot, and then he leaps off a cliff into the ocean. Reportedly, James was freaked out about the jump, and he actually had to do it 2 different times because the first attempt wasn't framed properly in the shot. Now, the second time, he actually split his lip when he struck the water. Had a problem there. Back to Bedlam, it became the best-selling British album of the decade, if you can believe that. It's no surprise that You're Beautiful was everywhere in the second half of the 2000s. It was in TV commercials and wedding receptions and elevator speakers. It'd be parodied by many, including the great Weird Al, who released his own take on the song called You're Pitiful. Of course he did, you know. It's a perfect way to do it. James Blunt, he loved Weird Al's version, and he gave him his blessing to do it. But after Al recorded it, Blunt's label was worried it would tarnish Blunt's image, so they told him no. Al, of course, being the nice guy he is, he removed it from his album Straight Outta Linwood.
And you smell repulsive too.
But actually, Weird Al got the last laugh after he dropped it on the internet as a free digital download, and it did very well. But James Blunt has never been offended by the ribbing from Al or anyone else for that matter. You know, You're Beautiful is a song that James lamented that it was force-fed down people's throats. He spent much of the last 2 decades joining all of us on the fun, mocking himself. James maintains that the song's overexposure was all the label's doing, though. Said Blunt, I think I was marketed by a record company to appeal to women during Desperate Housewives commercials. The marketing painted me as this intensely serious, earnest person, and as all my friends know, I'm anything but that. Now, through the years, he's leaned hard into the self-deprecation, even calling his 2022 The Stars Beneath My Feet tour his greatest hit tour. Singular hit, because he's only had one U.S. hit.
I will never be with you.
So let me mention today's sponsor. This message is sponsored by Raycon. You know, I started using Raycon open earbuds just a few months ago, and I was telling my wife how much I love them. So she borrowed them, one day to work out, and I haven't seen him since. So with Mother's Day coming up, I thought I'd let her keep him for an early present. And for all the men watching, Raycon's essential open earbuds are a perfect gift for your mother or wife because they're open ear. She can listen to music or podcasts while still hearing what's happening around her. It keeps her safe and aware. It's a thoughtful Mother's Day gift, and while you're at it, you can get yourself a pair. Now, right now, you can get them for 15% off. Raycon has over 3 million customers, and the sound quality, it's just as good as more expensive brands, I'm telling you. They're half the price because they're not paying for celebrity endorsements, all that retail markup stuff. Plus, they have a 30-day guarantee if you don't dig them. I was happy that I got another pair since my wife took mine. Celebrate the moms in your life. Click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/ProfessorOfRockOpen to get 15% off the essential open earbuds. Thanks to Raycon for sponsoring this. All right, coming in number 4, I've got Los Del Rios with Macarena. And without saying anything else, I know you already understand why this one's on the countdown. All right, let's talk about the song that took over the entire planet in 1996. And it's a dirty little secret that most English speakers didn't figure out back in the day and still don't know. So I guess on the surface, Macarena was the ultimate party anthem, at least back then. Weddings, school dances, birthday parties, baseball stadiums, you name it. This song was everywhere in 96, and no one in the U.S. could have predicted it when the song first came out, that it would be this massive hit. Behind the mic was the pop dance duo of Antonio Romero Monge and Rafael Ruiz Perdigones. Hailing from Seville, Spain, the pair had been performing together and making music since the early 60s, actually. By the time the 90s rolled around, they had 15 albums to their name. But none of them made any noise in the U.S. charts. But a trip to Venezuela in 1992, that changed everything. At a private party, the two men watched a local flamenco dancer named Diana Patricia Cubalian. She lit up the room. She lit up the dance floor. Her performance was so electrifying that Romero, right there on the spot, he started improvising lyrics in her honor. Something along the lines of, Diana, give your body joy and good things. Back in Spain, they refined the song, though. The name Diana, that became Macarena, a name with deep roots in Seville. And the storyline got more than a little messed up. In the song Macarena, she has a boyfriend named Victorino. And while he's away at his military swearing-in ceremony, she gets cozy with 2 of his best friends, and she's not conflicted about it either. The original Spanish version of Macarena, that was released in 1993 by Los Del Rio, and it became a major hit in Spanish-speaking countries. Now, in 1995, a Miami radio host started spinning the original Spanish version on air. That caught the ear of two local producers known as the Bayside Boys. They got to work building a remix, and it had the same iconic Spanish chorus, but with new English verses and a driving dance floor beat. But instead of the in-your-face infidelity, the English lyrics kept things a little vague and playful with a more generic come and dance with me vibe. The remix, that landed on August 15, 1995, and within a year, Macarena hit #1 on the Hot 100, and it would actually stay there for 14 weeks straight. And then there was the dance. 16 counts, right? 4 hand positions repeated 3 times, a hip shimmy, and a quarter turn. It was simple enough for almost anyone to pull off. The Macarena, that swept through schools, stadiums, and office parties. When the New York Yankees hosted a mass performance with 50,000 people moving in unison.
I gotta believe there's 50,000 people at the stadium tonight.
The Democratic National Convention stopped to do it live on C-SPAN. Remember, Al Gore did it. But everyone seemed blissfully unaware that the lyrics are about a woman who cheats on her boyfriend with 2 of his best friends, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, because some say that it might have been at the same time.
I am not trying to seduce you.
Eventually, like all pop culture trends, though, the hype burned out and the exhaustion and annoyance set in. And after such a viral run, no one wanted anything to do with the Macarena anymore. I mean, once you've watched Dr. Evil do the Macarena to prove that he's hip, it's like flying the white flag, right? By 2011, a Rolling Stone reader poll voted Macarena as the second worst song of the 90s, losing out only to Aqua's Barbie Girl. And though Macarena has been used and mocked in a string of movies and shows from Family Guy to Hotel Transylvania 3, I don't know that it's ever going to return to genuine cool status. I don't think it ever was cool. Probably the worst song to hit #1 for 14 weeks ever. Not many have, but anyway, I never did the Macarena. Did you do it? I kind of missed that whole phase, and I know some people that did. Let me know in the comments. Did you ever do the Macarena? All right, from the Macarena, we're going straight to the other 90s sensation of the later 90s. It's the Spice Girls at #4. That's right, we're really going to do this, but it's got a great story. Here's a roll call from A to Z. You got Baby Spice, Ginger Spice, Posh Spice, Scary Spice, and Sporty Spice. And to go back to the start, you have to go all the way back to 1994 when a British trade publication ran an announcement seeking streetwise, ambitious, and dedicated young women for a new pop group. Manager Chris Herbert wanted to create a female version of the British boy band Take That. By June of 1994, 5 girls were selected. Victoria Adams, Melanie Brown, Melanie Chisholm, Jerry Halliwell, and Michelle Stevenson, who would then be replaced by Emma Bunton. The girls rented a house just outside of London and got to work rehearsing and collaborating with songwriters. Now, in 1995, they hired a new manager, Simon Fuller. He kicked the operation into overdrive from there. The girls were given a new branding identity. They had those nicknames, right? Victoria is Posh, Mel B is Scary, Emma is Baby, Mel C is Sporty, and Jerry is Ginger. The names stuck and a bidding war broke out as word spread about the group. Virgin Records came out on top, and the Spice Girls were in business with a record label. The first single, Wannabe, was a lightning strike moment. Written in less than an hour, the track was built over a basic backbeat and a frenzy of random ideas. Said MLB, we wrote it in about 30 minutes. It was just this big, wonderful, chaotic mess of everyone shouting what they wanted to say, and that's how it came together. Wannabe's manic energy was the perfect intro to their girl power philosophy, prioritizing girlfriends over potential lovers. The song was memorable for its zigzag hook and that A to Z rap, which Mel B confessed she wrote while hiding in the recording studio bathroom. So there's that. Released in July 96, Wannabe became a global phenomenon. It hit #1 in nearly 40 countries, including here in the U.S. Its popularity was fueled by the Spice Mania that followed, turning the 5 members into the most recognizable women on the planet at the time. Although Spice Mania wouldn't be without its controversy, like most boy and girl bands, the Spice Girls face allegations of being manufactured I don't really know what the controversy was. They were manufactured. Back then, we just called it out. Now the kids call the manufactured artists geniuses. Not helping matters was the fact that Posh Spice, or Victoria Adams, she was frequently called out for her vocal talent, or lack thereof. She didn't really have the vocal talent. She was the only Spice Girl not to have a verse of her own in Wannabe, and suspicions of lip syncing were surprisingly confirmed decades later by Victoria herself when she revealed that producers would turn off her mic during live performances because they didn't trust her vocals. She couldn't hit it. After the massive success of Wannabe, there were 2 follow-up singles from Spice, Say You'll Be There and To Become One. So as 1997 progressed, sales of Spice climbed to nearly 20 million copies on its way to 23 million worldwide. As things ramped up, the Spice Girls showed no signs of slowing down. Raking in endorsement deals, they dismissed the dangers of oversaturation and launched into their next project, Spice World, a movie meant to be a modern feminine homage to the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night. But it was basically a feature-length ad for the group and their second album, Spice World, which they recorded during the film's production. The Beatles, it was not. The album and movie were released in late 97, marking the zenith of Spice Mania right there.
Spice up your life with the Spice Girls. Spice World.
Neither would live up to the hype. Spice Up Your Life was the first single from the Spice World album, but it failed to light up the charts here in the US at all, not like Wannabe did. And those Spice Girls tracks would continue to top the charts in the UK. Their star was already fading. Jump to May of 98, and Jerry Halliwell abruptly quit the group mid-world tour. Jerry's exit was a branding disaster that rocked the group as they attempted to conquer the American stadium circuit, leaving the remaining members to perform to half-empty venues. Yeah, a lot of people don't talk about that one. Without Ginger, the Spice Girls pivoted toward a more mature R&B sound with the 2000 album Forever, but the spark was gone, and the group became poster girls for late 90s excess, leading to an indefinite hiatus. Then in June of 2007, all 5 members of the Spice Girls held a press conference announcing they were reuniting for the return of the Spice Girls tour. It was actually the highest grossing concert act from 2007 to 2008, earning $200 million. Since then, the group has briefly come back together a few more times, with various members going MIA at different times. But tell us what you think in the comments. Looking back on Spice Mania decades later, was it a good thing? What is the legacy of the Spice Girls? Let me know your thoughts. All right, coming in at the bridesmaid position, this punchline entry isn't actually a musician. It's a movie. It's all about the power of dance. It's the nostalgic 80s romantic drama, Flashdance. Released on April 15, 1983, Flashdance was directed by Adrian Lyne and starred Jennifer Beals in her breakout role as Alex Owens. Now, the film follows Alex, an 18-year-old living in Pittsburgh who works as a steel mill welder by day and an exotic dancer by night. You know the story. Despite any formal training, she dreams of being accepted into the prestigious Pittsburgh Conservatory of Dance. And she's supported by her older boyfriend and boss, Nick Hurley, and mentored by a retired ballerina. And, of course, throughout, Alex must overcome her doubts, take her passion, and make it happen. Despite receiving largely negative reviews from critics who were quick to dismiss the movie, Flashdance kicked some serious butt in theaters. It did very well. It was produced on a modest budget of $7 million, but it grossed over $92 million domestically and over $200 million globally. You know, a lot of those 80s dance movies did a lot better than you might expect. Footloose racked up over $100 million, and that was on a budget of $8 million. Dirty Dancing made something like $215 million after spending just $4.5 million.
Pictures presents Footloose.
Dirty Dancing.
Now, believe it or not, Flashdance was the third highest grossing film of 1983 in the U.S., behind only Return of the Jedi in terms of endearment. And aside from the obvious reason being Jennifer Beals, she is just a very attractive person. Flashdance definitely owes its success to its hit-heavy soundtrack as well, produced by Jojo Moroder. And man, does the music make this one a classic. Flashdance featured so many great tracks. Laura Branigan, Donna Summer, Joe Esposito, Kim Carnes. There's Joan Jett's I Love Rock and Roll. But you know, the two biggest songs attached to the movie are the #1 hits. Irene Cara's Flashdance, What a Feeling. Of course, Michael Cimbello's Maniac. Which is a song that was originally a dark track about a serial killer before getting some dance vibe rewrites. Both songs backed iconic moments in the film that would be burned into our collective pop culture memory of the 80s. Maniac soundtracks the film's obligatory 80s training montage with Owens undergoing a sweat-drenched practice session in her warehouse and features those rapid-fire toe taps and that legendary running-in-place move. And then Flashdance, What a Feeling, that became the feel-good anthem of 1983, played over the film's climactic dance audition. Although since I mentioned it, I gotta touch on the whole body double controversy. If you didn't already know, the film uses a few other performers in wigs along with Jennifer Beals for the sequence. Her primary double, Maureen Jahan, she did a lot of the actual dancing, and she was intentionally left uncredited so as not to spoil that illusion. There was also professional gymnast Sharon Shaporio, was also brought in to perform the epic slow-motion dive. But get this, an actual guy, Richard Crazy Legs Colon, was tapped for the breakdancing moves. To pull it off, Richard had to shave his body hair and wear a woman's leotard. Flashdance, What a Feeling, that was released as a single in March of '83, and Maniac dropped the following May. Both went to #1 on the Hot 100, and the movie Flashdance became a phenomenon. But with time, even the most successful movies become pop culture punching bags, right? And as the years rolled on, the parodies started stacking up. Maniac became the ultimate trying too hard anthem thanks to that famous running in place visual. I mean, you know, when you got Chris Farley as the dancer who becomes the dance, there's no coming back from that one. Oh, it's classic.
I'm a maniac on the floor.
Besides Tommy Boy, though, Maniac has also been featured in The Simpsons and Scrubs and, Way Too Committed Kia car commercial. There's also 2003's American Wedding with Stifler busting out some serious old school moves to this one. But why are all the maniacs on the dance floor guys? It's like every Maniac parody is done by a guy, if you notice that. As for What a Feeling, Flashdance, What a Feeling, it's gotten much of the same treatment. In fact, most of these parodies feature a blending of different scenes from the movie. Some of the standouts include beer and Wi-Fi commercials.
Wi-Fi now. Can't stop streaming. Have some wasted child.
You can also find it featured in Glee, Lip Sync Battle, What Happens in Vegas, and a bunch of others. But even if the movie and the music are now firmly placed in the parody category, we still love it. It takes you back to the 80s as much as any movie or songs do. All right, here we are at #1, and I'm telling you, we have just the right man for the hour. We're shining the spotlight on Sir Thomas Jones Woodward, a.k.a. Tiger Tom, a.k.a. the Great Tom Jones. Tom Jones released his first album titled Along Came Jones in the UK back in '65. Here in the US, it was actually known as It's Not Unusual, but I like Along Came Jones better because that just sums it all up. I mean, the world was not ready for Tom Jones, and ever since he hit the scene, it's never been the same. Tom Jones's career, it's been one hell of an entertaining ride. Not only does he have a killer set of pipes, but Tom Jones is the consummate ladies' man with a repertoire of sexy moves that are like a magnet for women's undergarments. As Tom explained to Larry King, the undergarment trend began in 1968 at the Copacabana. Their ladies would hand him table napkins to wipe away the sweat as he performed from his brow. But then, according to Tom, during one show, a woman stood up and stripped off her unmentionables and handed it to him instead of a napkin. Playing along, Tom took the undies, he wiped his brow and tossed them back to her so she wouldn't catch a chill. A columnist saw the whole thing and, of course, wrote it up. And from then on, women started bringing an extra pair of undergarments to toss to Tom during shows.
I gotta tell you a story.
Tom Jones is one of a kind. He had so many hits. I mean, there's What's New Pussycat, which, if you've ever listened to the lyrics, it's pretty risque. In fact, Tom was humiliated when he had to record it. It would go on to become a top 5 hit and a touchstone of the swinging 60s. But it was so bizarre, when Tom heard a demo of the tune, he asked the prolific lyricist who wrote it, "What in the bloody hell do you want me to sing this for?" Thinking the song was a big joke.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
And of course, it was a big joke, but Burt Bacharach asked him to be serious about it and sing it with some real authority. Of course, Tom Jones did, and it became an all-time standard. So as the 70s wore on, Tom's tight jumpsuits, his open-chested shirts, and hypersexualized stage presence made him seem kind of like an old-fashioned lounge act.
Pussycat, pussycat, you're delicious.
Not Tom Jones. You got to give this man the credit. He is the man. After 6 decades in the business, he's done it all. On his home turf in the UK alone, Tom scored 40 top 40 hits. Here in the US, he has right around 20 top 40 singles. He's famous for so many great songs. It's Not Unusual, What's New Pussycat, Delilah, I'll Never Fall in Love, She's a Lady.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Tom also did the 007 title cut Thunderball, and he actually placed 12 singles on the US country charts in the 80s alone. I mean, this man is versatile. Speaking of the 80s, in 1988, Tom teamed up with the Art of Noise to cover Prince's Hot 100 #1, Kiss. And then in the 90s, he put EMF's Unbelievable in his set list. Covered the Beatles and the Stones, he did Kung Fu Fighting for Jackie Chan's Super Cop, and he's collaborated with numerous artists.
Kiss. You say you're unbelievable. And a kicking from the hip. Everybody was Kung Fu Fighting.
Then in November of 1999, with the world ready to cross over into the new millennium, Tom Jones dropped his #3 UK hit, Sex Bomb. It blew up even bigger than Y2K ever did.
Sex bomb, you're my sex bomb.
You know, honestly, if you check Tom's IMDb page, the man has crushed it in pop culture. He experienced a full-on resurgence after It's Not Unusual featured in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Since then, the man's been on fire. On IMDb, on his page, you can find Tom's songs in over 300 TV shows and movies. I mean, there's The Wonder Years, Hot Shots, Party of Five, The Emperor's New Groove, Friends, Ally McBeal, Will and Grace, Anchorman, American Hustle, Glee, The Simpsons, The Mentalist, Supernatural. But I don't want to stray too far from the big one, Fresh Prince, because Alfonso Ribeiro, he played Carlton, of course, and that's done more for Tom's legacy than just about anything else. He turned It's Not Unusual into a forever classic with the Carlton.
It's not unusual to be loved.
The dance, that was Alfonso's brainchild. He came up with it by combining Bruce Springsteen's moves from Dancing in the Dark and Eddie Murphy's stand-up routine. He never intended it for it to be a comedic staple. You know, the script actually just said Carlton dances. And Alfonso, he chose the most uncool moves that he could imagine. And the show had the perfect song to match those moves. It's Not Unusual. That would feature 4 times in the show, including a sequence with Tom dropping in as Carlton's guardian angel to sing a duet with him. Of course, the dance itself, the Carlton, it's now synonymous with the song, and as the Carlton has persisted, so has Tom Jones.
It's not unusual to mess up at any time.
The whole thing would be revived again when Alfonso performed the Carlton on Dancing with the Stars in 2014. The routine garnered tens of millions of views on YouTube and led to a wave of high-profile cameos.
It's not unusual to be sad with anyone.
As for Tom Jones, he's been all in on the joke, and he's loved every second of it. Tom Jones, he's a legend, one of my favorite singers ever.
Thank you so much, everybody.
And there you have it. More Punchline songs that really have a new level to them because of this. Leave us a comment below. Let's talk about them. What are your memories and what do you think about these songs? Are there any that we're missing? It's kind of fun to do these Punchline shows because they're songs that get a new life to them. And sometimes they're kind of remembered. I mean, you really can't hear It's Not Unusual anymore and not think of the Carlton. Like I said, you know, luckily with Blue Oyster Cult, you know, because of Saturday Night Live, more cowbell, I don't think of it. I don't think it's necessarily ruined that song. And I don't think that the Carlton ruined It's Not Unusual. It just kind of has added a new layer to it. But what do you think? Leave us a comments below. Let's have a great discussion below about this. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, make sure you are and subscribe. We'd love to have you. Got to keep this channel going. It's so fun to talk about the songs and the history behind them. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.